Greetings, everyone. How is everyone doing out there? Today is November the 25th, 2024. We're still in the positive timeline trajectory. I want to welcome everybody who is in the house. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps my channel grow. And other than that, I do want to share, before I get with the updates as to how the ball is in the courts of the White Hats and things are going according to plan, even though outside of what's happening behind closed doors, it seems like everything's going into chaos, and so on and so forth. So right before I start my live, I always like to relate an event that took place on the 25th of November. And because it is White Hat Monday, JFK was actually buried at Arlington National Cemetery in the year 1963. Well, that's what they wanted us to believe. For those that have been following for some time, the real JFK was safeguarded. That was his decoy, right? That was buried. Not the real JFK. He was taken off-world to planet Mars. And so, according to the History Channel, that's when they, after the days after the event in Dallas, the decoy, or may I say the double, right, was actually buried on this very day. So that's interesting that, on this very day, the decoy, or the double, may I say, was actually buried. Now, I do want to welcome everybody that is in the house. For those that don't know me, my name is Ishmael Perez, and I am the author of those two books right behind me, The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, revealing 6,000 years of cabal activity, their silent war against the White Hats, and also the history of the White Hats. Oh, you guys like my sweater? Thank you. I appreciate it. I noticed that my camera just kind of fell a little bit, but I could fix it real quick. There we go. Oh. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, thank you. This is the new Galactic Jedi sweater. We have shirts, tank tops, hats, mugs, you name it. But yeah, it's all available through my website, or cosmicorigin.com. And also, I'm the author of that other book behind me, Our Cosmic Origin, that restores galactic history back to the Earth. So with that in mind, I do have a lot of intel, important intel that I want to share with you guys. Well, first of all, as I mentioned, that what's really happening right now is the dismantling of the globalist agencies, beginning with NATO. And this is a big thing. So NATO is in crisis as I speak, right? The cabal has been in panic ever since the 5th of November. For instance, Mark Rutte's rushed visit to Trump on November 22nd, 2024, was just not another diplomatic engagement. It was actually a desperate attempt by NATO to salvage its crumbling facade, all right? They're going down and they know it. So NATO, which has for a long time been a globalist tool exploited by the cabal to enforce the globalist agenda under the guise of security, is ultimately facing its greatest existential threat, right? Which is exposure. Now, I did read a comment the other day. One of the new Galactic Jedis asked me, Ishmael, why are you saying that the EU, the European Union, and NATO are bad? Aren't they supposed to be good because they're uniting countries? The answer to that is no, okay? NATO, which is the international police force, for those that have read The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, is the front, the precipice of the global police state, okay? And the EU, the European Union, which began by the European Economic Cooperation Plan, bringing all of European nations into one federal Europe, was the cabal's way of resurrecting the Holy Roman Empire. So in other words, the European Union and NATO have been pretty much tools of the Vatican and the dark, what we call the black nobility, right? The elites of Europe, the Rothschilds and gang. And so that's why it's important to dismantle NATO and, of course, the European Union in order for the European countries to begin to claim their national sovereignty. So sources close to this meeting that took place between Rutte and Trump pleaded to Trump to maintain stability, which was a thinly veiled request to protect NATO's role as the globalist enforcement arm. Well, you guys want to know what Trump's response was? Absolutely defiance, all right? Absolutely defiance. So Rutte's visit also coincided with intelligence, leaked intelligence revealing NATO's involvement in clandestine operations aimed at undermining nationalist governments across Europe. And that explains, if you guys want to get to the truth of the matter, that explains why Putin is actually, at war with the Ukraine, right? Because of the fact that they are, holding NATO back, okay? Knowing that they are neocons and they're part of this, globalist neocon agenda, right? But this includes funding regime change operations disguised as pro-democracy initiatives. This is what they have always claimed, right? This rise of the European Union with NATO. They made the public believe that they were pro-democracy, which was the biggest deception, where they took initiatives in supporting deep state militias in order to destabilize certain regions. Apparently, Mr. T's agenda isn't just to reform NATO, it's to dismantle it entirely and expose its dirty laundry to the world. So, why wouldn't Mr. Putin from Russia want to sign a cease to fire peace treaty with Trump? Okay, so that's very important to understand is that under the deep state administration, as they are trying to push, this scare event, right, which many call the Third World War, that's actually acting as a fuel, as a reason for the global white hat military to eventually, undo them and bring forth the peace treaty worldwide. So, Mr. T has confirmed that he's ready to declare a national emergency as a result of them trying to push us into the Third World War and deploy military forces to secure America's borders, reverse, of course, Brandon's invasion, right, and restore law and order. This is the turning point for America right now as I speak. So under the Brandon invasion, right, and what I mean by that is all of the different gangs from Venezuela and other countries that were deployed or that were released into our country by the deep state. That's what I mean, the invasion that took place from within, okay? So the Biden invasion, now under, what's left of this guy, America's borders have been wide open, apparently everybody knows that, enabling chaos, illegal crossings, and the collapsing of local communities. So Mr. T has called for this national crisis, and he's stepping in with decisive action. So therefore, the military is the only way forward at this time, okay? Mass deportations are going to come into effect as day one, okay? Day one, when Mr. T's plan becomes unfolded. They're going to immediately secure the borders, enforce immigration laws, and initiate mass deportations. So this is going to happen on day one. This isn't just about policy anymore. It's about saving the American sovereignty, right, and identity. So hospitals, schools, and resources are collapsing, apparently are collapsing so the military, let's see, this isn't just about policy, it's about saving America. So hospitals, schools, and resources are collapsing under the weight of unchecked immigration. So Mr. T is promising a swift action as I speak to reclaim control and protect America's citizens, of course, military precision, and ultimately restoring sovereignty. So Mr. T's plan to use the military is not just a necessity, it is a strategy. It's very strategic at this point. So with their support, the borders will be fortified, illegal crossings deterred, and human trafficking networks dismantled. And I believe it was today, I just happened to be hearing a little bit of Fox News. It was a clip, and they were talking about how, some of the kids that are coming in illegally are literally being used for sex trafficking and so on and so forth. So that was a pretty, a bit of disclosure on Fox earlier. Critics call it extreme, of course, but this is about survival at this point, preventing global conflict. So Mr. T's leadership apparently matters. The world teeters on the edge of conflict, right? And Brandon's weakness has emboldened America's enemies. So Mr. T's peace program, his initiative through strength approach ensures America's remains a global leader from historic peace deals to diffusing nuclear threats. Mr. T has proven that he can actually deliver when others have been failing. So that is really good. Now, another thing I wanted to go more into detail because I still get a lot of questions about the QFS, which is again something that is currently being already implemented from what I hear, and as it will be revealed as I speak right now, from behind the scenes globally. Okay, it is believed that the BRICS nations that are part of the Eastern Economic New Bloc that is forming is already under the quantum financial system. So it's just a matter of time, of course, before we get on the quantum financial system. So apparently, this is a system that is a megalithic financial structure that has been given to humanity by the, by the host of heaven, right? Known by many names, angels, positive ETs, and so on and so forth. So the reason they call it a megalithic, financial structure is because it stands alone as the most advanced financial system that anyone could imagine. This is a system, I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. This is a system that is actually proven workable across many different interplanetary and stellar civilizations. So apparently, this technology has no peer on the earth at this time, at the present time. Okay, it is a magnificent system designed to take on the magnitude of accounting needed to balance every financial transaction in the world in real time. So, moreover, the QFS is housed in the mega, right? And that isn't a coincidence, mega, right? The quantum, it's actually housed in the mega. Check this out: quantum consciousness, abbreviated QC. Okay, I believe Michelle Fielding was talking about this last month when I interviewed her on my podcast, and she mentioned how it's going to be a quantum consciousness that we are all going to be connected to. So here is the evidence. Okay, so this is not artificial intelligence. First, let me just make that clarification. This is a living quantum computer that is connected to all living things. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out there, guys. So this quantum consciousness is divine consciousness, if you want to get technical, that is being made available for us to use in the third dimension, because it ultimately works in the fourth and fifth dimension. So the tools it brings, the QFS, for those that are just jumping on, the quantum financial system tools that it brings are necessary for us to usher in the golden age of humanity. The quantum financial system is the ledger accounting system made up of individual accounts. The QFS is only but one of many applications already housed in the quantum consciousness, ready to be implemented. Now, I did made a mistake last time before I was rudely cut off by my own live. When I said that the XRP and XLM are plummeting, I meant to say that they're rising, all right? Plummeting is the opposite of rising. The only thing that is plummeting, guys, is all other cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, all right? With the exception, of course, of XRP and XLM. And the only reason being is because they are going to be supported by the QFS, the quantum financial system, and backed by precious metals. So furthermore, the quantum voting system, which is another example, is it was used in the 2020 elections and recorded, and this is the way that they were able to confirm and support the evidence for the Brunson case. Okay, the quantum voting system is another example. It was used in the 2020 elections and recorded all votes cast, both legal and illegal. Apparently, you guys know that there was a lot of illegal ones. So it was one of the tools that Space Force used to gather data for proof of ELECTION, FRAUD. Okay, so it also recorded the name of the people who were responsible for this, FRAUD. So another safety feature is that your personal connection to the quantum consciousness, the connection is going to be direct to the quantum computer, which is a living consciousness, and it will not be used as a service provider so that there is no viruses, so that there is no worms or any other destructive junk that can be downloaded into your computer. So apparently, when we go with the quantum consciousness, the quantum financial system, operating through the quantum consciousness, we're going to be switching to the Q computers. The Q computers are also going to be living consciousness. Okay, they're not going to be artificial intelligence. So apparently, we're going to be shifting over into the quantum computers as well. So this includes that. Okay, so the reason we're doing this is because even this is how advanced the QFS is. Okay, that it's impossible for artificial intelligence to even penetrate it. And as you guys know, for those that have been following me for quite some time, is that we are at war with invasive alien negative AI. So, because of this Omega entity that is supposedly going to make an emergence sometime during the negative timeline split, not in the positive, of course, we're going to go into the millennium, right? Where we're going to at least witness 1,000 years of peace, harmony, love, justice, and brotherhood and sisterhood. So apparently, the way the quantum consciousness computer was set up or system is that not even artificial intelligence can penetrate our computers or the global quantum consciousness system, which is going to be a benevolent, and it was set up to become a benevolent peacemaker or gatekeeper. I'm sorry. The quantum consciousness is believed to be a benevolent gatekeeper. Okay. Nothing can penetrate it, not even AI. Okay. Which is a very good thing because we are at war with AI. So, beyond the aspect of the financial system, this quantum computer operated through quantum consciousness has enough storage and capacity to take on every computer function in the world with plenty to spare. It will perform like the cloud to house all of your applications, all of your files and photos. All other computer storage devices may become obsolete as the quantum consciousness becomes the premier computer with worldwide applications for anyone to use. So, would you expect anything less as we ascend to the higher dimensions? Probably not. So, yeah, this is definitely another indicator that our planet is shifting from 3D density to 4D, 5D, and beyond. So, the quantum computer will support us as we move into a fifth dimensional existence. Again, this is a system that is used across the universe by many advanced type 1 interplanetary civilizations and also a type 2 interstellar civilizations. Now, beyond a type 2, we go into a galactic type 3. It's almost like they become the quantum computer. Anyways, but it's a consciousness, living, natural, organic computer. It operates like a computer, but it's all organic. There is a difference, non-artificial, okay? So it is in benevolent harmony, okay? That with this system, apparently it is in benevolent harmony with the higher realms, as it's been proven to be operable in many different worlds, okay, throughout the cosmos. And it stands, as a gift from God, right? As the new financial system for the future of humanity until it is replaced with higher technology consistently with the higher realms. Like I said, beyond the fifth dimension, we don't need the quantum consciousness or the QFS, the quantum financial system, because in fifth and sixth dimensional levels of reality, we become able to tap into 0 point energy through our mind and manifest anything we want through the power of our thoughts. So that's a technology in itself. But again, we don't get to become natural replicators until we at least evolve to the fifth and sixth dimension. But this quantum computer stands ready to integrate. I'm talking about the system that is already being rolled out in many of the alliance countries, and it's just about to be rolled out. And some sources have even confirmed that in some parts of this country, people are already starting to use the quantum financial system. So that's very fascinating too. So this quantum computer stands ready to integrate into a galactic wide web, abbreviated GWW. Let me say that again. This quantum computer that is going to be operable through the QFS is going to stand ready to integrate into a galactic wide web system that will facilitate intergalactic commerce. My friends, we're going to go interplanetary and stellar. We're going to go galactic pretty soon, okay, as a result of this new technology. That system will act as a chain of warehouses located on planets that hold commodities for exchange, making it a galactic internet for commerce using anti-gravity, interstellar transporters as fulfillment vehicles. Okay, and like I said, through Space Force as it integrates with SpaceX, which is totally financed and mobilized by the alliance as they broke away from NASA. Um, some sources, not many, believe that SpaceX actually broke away from NASA due to the involvement of the alliance when they realized that NASA was actually a cabal front lying to us about what's really happening in space. So through Space Force, as it integrates with SpaceX, all of these technologies will be rolling out in the next few years. Now, so this quantum computer also begins our entry into the galactic society. All right, we are going quantum, which means the veil is lifted. All right, the quarantine of the Earth is done. So the Earth is no longer quarantined from the rest of the galaxy. Right, as a result of this activation of the QFS. So this quantum computer, living quantum computer, begins our entry into the galactic society that makes Earthlings galactic human beings, all right, as we become part of a galactic society. And we are shifting. We are going from Homo sapiens to Homo galactus. Even the young souls that I call the Earth Terrans are going to be, using at least 3 to 4 or 5 strands of DNA, capable of living for a few hundred years. So I wonder how much it will cost, going back to the QFS, right? I wonder how much it will cost to create the vehicle that will bring us to the age of intergalactic travel. Well, anything is possible as we enter the age of the quantum, right? Um, so, um, in intergalactic travel and subsequent commerce, of course, as we begin to operate as a galactic civilization. So that's going to be very interesting, right? We may need the higher redemption rates after all, they say. All right, so let's see. Okay, so God always has things in store for us. All right. For those that doubt that God is in control, okay, I don't know, however you refer to what God is, the higher power, Jesus, Yahweh, Allah, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, source, prime creator, I mean, the all, the logos. It doesn't matter how you know it, but just know that this source always has things in store for us that we may not be aware of until we allow its energy to guide us, okay, and give us direction. So without this help, right now we are being assisted by the entire host of heaven, right? From interdimensionals, physical, biological, advanced extraterrestrials to plasma beings to aquatic beings to fairies, elementals, even the dragons are here helping us. I mean, the help is amazing, guys. So without this help, right, from the host of heaven, the company of heaven that is here in the numbers, um, without the help and left to our own understanding, we might not prepare well for what is to come. Okay, so until we become, you could say, aware of this, conscious for ourselves that we are not alone and that we are not doing this by ourselves, that we actually have the support and help from the entire company of heaven, it behooves us to ask for the suggested, okay, rate of, you could say, um, let's just the best thing to do, guys, is just let the quantum financial consciousness read your heart as we enter this new era. So that way it will determine how much abundance you're going to be receiving. Just remember this. I mentioned this before and I'll mention it again, guys. The abundance is directly measured and directly proportioned to the amount of love and compassion that you generate and positive feelings that you uphold throughout your daily life. So God and the alliance are willing the best for all of us at this time, okay? So the transition from the old to the new is very important, right? As the Whiteheads are about in a position to pull the plug, and now that the other guys are pushing this third world narrative, right? The quantum computer is alive, right? And doing its snoopy things, but the QFS accounts are not active with funds yet, okay? Even though it's already activated, the funds are not yet fully active, but it is believed, according to Valium Thor, that sometime in the next 2 weeks, um, the funds are going to be activated, right? So the new funds are inactive currently, right? With the gold certificates waiting to be activated in an account. This happens with a transaction. So for those of us that have been collecting or investing in SIM, right, Zimbabwe dollars, as opposed, or the dinar, as opposed to XRP or XLM, selling our ZIM to the alliance is the transaction that activates the certificate. All right, so how is the old going to transition to the new QFS? I guess that is the question posed by many at this time. This is a good question. Apparently, the global current reset, the global currency reset, also known as the GCR, where all currencies are to reset to a pair value with all other currencies, which is already happening with the BRICS nations, must take place just prior to the activation of the QFS in the West. Okay, so the QFS does not adjust to the differences in the present value of currencies, or so that the GCR must be completed when the QFS is activated. So all RV and redemption funds will be placed in the QFS as gold-backed currencies at the time of redemption or exchange. So the RV funds are calculated and backed currencies into QFS accounts as gold using digital gold certificates. The funds will be redemption into the national currency where this takes place. Now, keep in mind that this global currency reset means that the world has reset its currencies to a whole new gold-backed system of financing the world, or finance for the world. So there will be no fanfare or public announcement, okay? You guys are all going to get an individual call when the QFS is activated. There are those in the financial industry and some in the Intel communities, as well as those who will redeem or exchange, who will know that the QFS has been turned on, but there will be very few tells to the general public that it has been activated and fully functioning. So apparently, the first people that are going to get the funds are those that are awake, those that are not no longer programmed by the mainstream media, which is all of you here. So who will know that the QFS has been turned on? But there will be very few. Okay, so the banks will go through their own transition as they lose major sources of income and become insolvent and go into receivership. Both the alliance wants this to be as seamless as possible. The transition will include white hat individuals within the banking system who will continue the functions of a bank with personal access to the QFS so they can serve the customers. This will be concurrent with the financial services industry taking over the overhead and the payment of salaries to maintain banking services. Obviously, a customer may also ask questions as to why is their account, as to why their account was not dinged for an overdraft fee, but the teller can just say, we don't do that anymore. So when the QFS has been activated, there will be no fees for any financial services. No more usury fees on loans. In fact, loans are going to be forgiven, right? No more theft by bankers themselves. No more delays in transfer funds. It will just be a simple account to account transfer initiated by the parties involved. This will not require any third party SIPS or SWIFT systems to be involved. All transfers are within the QFS initiated by the individual account holder without any requirement of someone doing it for them. So without the customer being charged for any bank fees from the past, the customer will just put a smile on their face and walk away wondering how the bank will make money in the future. That will be the question in the minds of many people. All right. It really is the end of an era of financial manipulation here, guys. All right. By the bankers to make money off money. All right. Interest rates, all that stuff was designed by them to make them richer at the expense of the masses. So the QFS is going to do the opposite of that, right? It is going to be free, first of all, right? Secure and at the speed of light. So again, a new financial system industry will take over the financial necessities that were once done by the banks. Only it will be free. Larger ZIM holders, ZIM benefactors, will purchase bank assets and establish this new financial service industries called financial service centers. They will use the present bank buildings and their branches for the centers. This will be a great way to use substantial accounts of one's humanitarian funds. I hope you guys are coming up with a humanitarian fund. Okay, I mentioned that before. So no fiat currency or any other form of currency or cash can be entered into the QFS without going through an exchange process and having a digital gold certificate assigned. Without the gold certificate, the computer will not recognize it is as money. The redemption of ZIM creates a transaction where the gold certificates are activated and put into the account, into your new account with the QFS. So the elders, and when I speak about the elders, I'm talking about the Chinese elders, right, who are working with who are a big part of the alliance, right? The White Dragon Society that have been enemies of the cabal for millenniums. The elders have caves, apparently, of hidden gold and are now using it to gold back the currencies in the QFS for every country in the world. So people ask me, where's all the gold reserves? Who has most of the gold reserves? Well, we know that for about 1700 years, they were contained by the Vatican. But, like history tells us, there's always the battle between the white hats and the dark hats has always been also a battle of who takes the gold overall, right? And the resources. Well, right now there's been a huge turnover in that, and it is believed that most of the gold reserve is actually owned by the Chinese elders. That's pretty interesting. Okay. It was designed, however, by the alliance to fund this new financial system that will create all currencies of the world to gold-backed currency. So the government leaders of over 209 countries of the world signed this agreement to allow Gesera and this new quantum financial system to be implemented worldwide by the alliance. For those that are new to this, Gesera is the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, also known as the Global Economic Security and Restabilization Act. An electronic, okay, I'm talking about the quantum financial system, which is going to be an electronic digital gold certificate that will be the vehicle used to back the new currency, all right? Each kilo of gold that is stored by the elders has an identifying serial number. That means that each kilo is identified and can be used to trace, it can be used to back a certain amount of currency. So each increment of currency will be given a digital gold certificate, right? Let me repeat that again. Each increment of currency will be given a digital gold certificate. So this digital certificate refers back to the specific kilo of gold bullion that has been set aside and identified to back that certain specific increment of currency. The gold certificate process is valid for all currencies regardless of the country of origin. So there will be a digital tag to indicate that the name of the currency that the certificate belongs to is real. So if you want to transfer, say, 100 units, let's just call it 100 units, the QFS will transfer 100 digital certificates, okay? The value of the certificate is also an extension of the kilo of gold bullion that it is assigned to it, okay? So this saves hauling gold all around us. Now, this is a big thing, guys. This is what Kennedy wanted to do. This is what also Franklin D. Roosevelt wanted to do. He wanted to bring us back through the Bretton Woods system. He wanted to end the fiat system. He wanted to restore the U.S. Treasury as well. So this is all part of the White Hat. So for those that didn't know, that even Franklin D. Roosevelt, right, the guy who initiated Bretton Woods, which was opposing the central banking systems, the International Bank of International Settlements, the ICB or the ISB, the International Settlement Bank or Bank of Settlements, He was opposing all of that, all right? So this is finally coming into fruition. Now, another thing that I want you guys to know is that apparently there is some controversy going on with Matt Gaetz, okay? And so I don't know if he's resigning because the deep state is formulating misinformation about this, Matt Gaetz, as he was picked by Trump to be part of the cabinet, or we don't know if maybe he was involved with the deep state. But there is a lot of controversy surrounding Matt Gaetz at this time, so we don't know if he's going to be part of the cabinet. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out because a lot of the sources are, indicating that we might see the installment of the White Hats, Mr. T, and the new cabinet way before January 6th. Okay, due to the fact that the deep state is about to be, exposed to the public for their crimes against humanity. So also, Janet Yellen is going to be Secretary of State. So hold on one second. All right, my bad, guys. What I meant to say is that the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, recited, okay? I mean, she quit. She quit. She quit, all right? She's apparently decided to quit, okay? Well, that's a good thing. So let's open it up for Q&A. But before we do, guys, I do want to welcome the 2,340 Galactic Jedis that are in the house. How is everyone doing? Let's see, who is here? Claire is here. Amanda Tumpori is here. Trenton Williams is here. Yes, that's right. She resigned. Thank you for confirming that, Mathis Chronicles. Jill Hunt is here. Elizabeth Nemasta is here. Who else is here? Project Skyfalls is here. Diana77. Knight Rider is here. New York is in the house. Paul Mitchell is in the house. Radiant Guardians. MJF. Let's see. Wendy Linton is in the house. Andromeda Daisy. Let's see. Okay, it's going so fast at this time. So we have about 20 minutes of Q&A. If you guys have any questions, please type them in capital letters so that I could bypass the chat. So yeah, for those that are coming in, the last thing I said is that the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, has resigned. All right, this is a good question. Will our internet apps and accounts transition or will it be lost? That is a very good question. The internet apps are okay. So to answer your question, the Galactic Alliance is going to transfer your internet apps and all your account transactions into the QFS. So yes, we're not going to lose those. We're actually going to see those operable in the QFS system, which is a good thing. So how do we know the gold actually exists if everything is done digitally? That is a good question. The best way to answer that question is so apparently a lot of the gold in the West is hidden in Fort Knox, and I believe that they are going to show. People are going to see for the first time all the gold that the Alliance has been recuperating from the cabal. All right, this is a good question. This is a question from Hoofcrab. Ishmael, when will we find out how God Creator was created? Well, first of all, the omnipotent creator, not the Anunnaki, not the God of the Bible, which is Enlil, Jehovah mixed with Enki and Marduk, right? But the God of all creation, the God that created all the universes, is an eternal being without beginning or end. So God has always existed. God has always existed for an eternity. How's that? So nobody created God. But everything does come from God. That is the best way to answer that. And was it originally just nothingness? I guess you're referring to before our creation, because nothingness had to be created too. Not necessarily. Okay, there was always something, and this is where I guess some of the scientists are lacking in. According to my vast research, before the creation of the first universe, which goes back to 989 billion years ago, for those that have taken my cosmic origin class and learned about the cosmic history, before creation, there was eternity, all right? The realms of eternity, the spheres of Havana, the spheres of infinity were existing, right? Without beginning or end. And there is scientific evidence through the fields of quantum physics, M theory, and superstring theory that there is a realm known as eternity, which everything comes from. And to our surprise, many cutting edge scientists relate that to be base reality, base consciousness. So, no, nothingness is actually what covers you could say the outer void of the omniverse. Okay, that's where nothingness is. But the omniverse, which contains all the multiverses, started from eternity. Eternity was the one that originated or began what we call the manifest, which is where time, space, and matter emerge as a result of this eternal consciousness that has always existed. To best answer your question, so yeah, there was always something, right? There was never nothing there. Something comes from something, right? Even our universe is a potpourri of many different universes. Now, I do have a super chat from Sylvia Foster. She says, thank you, Ishmael, and the many universal friends. So grateful. You are so welcome. You guys are so welcome. Okay, so let's see. Let's continue here with the questions. Oh, and another thing I wanted to clarify. Some people were a little bit confused due to my last live when somebody asked me about the soul trap. She was referring to when you die, do not go towards the light. Okay, that's what she was referring to. Now, some people thought that I was referring to the Saturn Moose recycling trap that was set up by the negative Anunnaki. No, that was dismantled a few years ago. So that means that we are not bounded to come back to the earth. Okay, now we are. People that have died have reincarnated in fourth or fifth dimensional bodies, and they are living in the new earth. Okay, so I do have another super chat from Diane Molina. She says, will we be notified prior to the QFS coming online, and will it be our bank that notifies us? Yes, because like I said earlier, there will be no public announcement of the QFS, right? The EBS will happen, the disclosure will happen, but the QFS is just going to happen from behind the scenes, and people will be receiving a call from the new bank, of course, when all the other banks dissolve. Or you guys are going to get an email. If it's not a call, it's an email. All right, this is another good question that I'm about to pin. This is from Sarah D. She's saying, Ishmael, what type of animals, what type of animals have been lost to us in 3D? That's a very good question. The second part of your question is, my mind has always told me that the mystical creatures on movies and such are some of the most loving beasts we have last. Yes, of course. The unicorns, the Pegasus, the dragons, the fairies, all of these mythical creatures that we read about in fantasy have always existed. The phoenix as well, you know, all of these creatures, all right? The fairies, dragons, you name it, even gnomes, salamanders, dwarves. There used to be a time where all of these creatures did exist, okay? So when you watch fantasy movies or when you guys read about mythology, they're really telling you about the world that existed prior to the flood, okay? That's the truth of the matter. I do have another super chat from Trenton Williams. Just curious if our past galactic incarnations are aware of each other. Yes, they are. Exactly. In other words, are all of our soul fragments aware of each other? Okay, the best way to answer that is yes. Your fifth dimensional avatar, which contains a bigger fraction of your consciousness, right? There's only a little of your consciousness needed to animate this third dimensional avatar. So your fifth dimensional avatar is aware of your third dimensional avatar. However, your third dimensional avatar is not aware of your fifth dimensional avatar. And in like manner, your eighth dimensional avatar or your consciousness, which is even greater or more vaster in the eighth dimension than it is in the fifth or third, is greater in all of the dimensions below it. So the higher you are, wherever you put your focus, right? Wherever your focus is, you are aware of your other avatars in lower dimensions because you could literally, through frequency modulation, you could shift from one dimension to the next, from one avatar to another. But you have to at least be in the fifth dimension to have these abilities. So another question I have is from John. John Park. How you doing, John? Okay. He says, "Hi Ishmael. Will our financial system be fully digital by 2025?" Yes, in the sense where everything that is backed by precious metals like XRP, XLM will be in full effect. Yes, we're no longer going to be using fiat, if that's what you're referring to. Absolutely. Or even before 2025. Again, things could be happening in the next couple of weeks. So it's always best to be ready, guys. It's always best to be ready. Commander Valiant Thor and a lot of people in the inside are assured that in the next couple of days or so, we might see some sort of international military some sort of execution of the bad guys, and of course tribunals and EBS. All right, this is another good question. Let me first unpin the one that is pinned. Hi Ishmael, do all of these changes just apply to America or is it international? This is a question from Samuel Stewart. It is international. It is international. However, with the exception of a few countries, but overall, yes, it is international. That was a great question. Let's see. Okay, this is another one from Patricia Sutton. She's asking, "Hi Ishmael, since the good guys said that they caught them, does that mean that the chemtrails we see now are from the good guys?" No, the good guys will never be. No, first of all, what we're seeing right now, we're those are all automatons. Okay, those planes that we see releasing all those toxins are not piloted by people. Those are automatons. They're robotic. Okay, the Alliance, the good guys, would never spray bad stuff in the sky. So no, it's not coming from the good guys. Okay, they would never spray us. That's for sure. Okay, I'm looking for more questions. Let's see. All right, Sarah says I missed her super chat. Let's see what her super chat is. No, I don't see a super chat from Sarah. I'm rewinding all the way to the top to see if I see the super chat, but I don't see it. Just give me a second here. I'm going to try to find it. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I do see your super chat. Okay, found it. Found your super chat. So you are saying, what do you think about TLS? and their unified healing. Are they like medmeds? No, the unified healing, you must be referring to the energy enhancement systems. No, they are different than the medmeds, of course. They're not the same thing. Now, as far as TLS is concerned, I've never heard of them, only through, of course, Shirka. But other than that, guys, this is a topic that I want to stay away from just because it's not my forte. That's Shirka's thing. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm also going to remind you guys to use discernment when you listen to people that claim to be, the only ones that have access to this organization or that organization, the only whistleblower, so on and so forth. Just be wary of that at the same time. Okay, guys, use your discernment. All right, so I'm going to continue here with the questions. This is a good reminder. God is one, He is everything. Everything was created out of that one thing appearing as if it were a separate thing. That is so true. This is from an ex prophet. According to the metaphysical interpretation of God, God is everything, guys. Just as stated by the Galactic Jedi here, ex prophet. God is, you could say, singular consciousness that divided itself in order to experience different faces of itself through vibrational frequencies. All right. So that's what God is. God is in the plants that we see in the mornings when we wake up and we see the yard. God is in the pet, in your animal that you look into in the eyes. God is in the people that you see around you. God is in every living thing. Absolutely. God is the universe, God is the galaxy, the plant, the trees, and so on and so forth. All right, so I'm going to continue here with questions. All right, so let's see if I could address this one. Well, the chat is going pretty fast. Let me rewind just a little bit. Okay, this is a good one. This is a very good question. Ishmael, good evening. Once in 5D, can an individual being choose to ascend to higher dimensions, say like in autopilot? Well, to answer the first part of your question is yes. Yes. It doesn't end in the 5D, okay? We originated as oversouls in the 12D. So our destination as we continue in the ascension process is to reunite with our 12D over self consciousness, which is all that is, which is the fragment we call our higher self or the God consciousness within us. And then the second part of your question is, will you be able to ascend, like, say, an autopilot? Not necessarily. Ascension is something that is ignited by will, first and foremost, all right? You have to be fully aware that you are consciously ascending, right? By will, by choice, by action, by beliefs, and so on and so forth. So it's not something that happens on autopilot. It's something that you do through willpower and choice. We choose to ascend, right? People don't just ascend just because they're meant to ascend. They ascend and reach higher levels of reality through hard work. Through hard work, okay? That's the best way to answer that. All right, let's see. Um, this is a good question. What happens to cash kept in our home? Let me think about that. Hold on. So I guess within 2 years, all of that cash is going to be transformed into the new gold back. Oops. Let me read that again. Do you believe that the currency appointments could come before Christmas? Yes. Big yes. Yes. Absolutely. Signed. Let's see. Okay, so yes, the answer to that is yes. There is a big, big possibility that it might even happen um, way before Christmas. So let's just keep our fingers crossed at this point. And then the second part of your question is signed on latent case already. Um, Answered. If so, then just in gratitude. Oh, you are welcome, Susan. Ishmael, what about the older generation? How are they going to absorb this info? My grandmother is 87 years old and believes everything. Oops, here, let me read that again. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pin it because the chat is going super fast. The question is well, I decided to put a little bubble of protection over my live today so that I wouldn't get booted out. So maybe it's working. That's a good thing. Okay, so your question is what about the older generation? How are they going to absorb this info? My grandmother is 87 years old and believes everything the news tells her, and they are still able to wake and transition. So, the best way to answer this is when they start revealing the truth, it's going to you could say a lot of people, even if they're older, right, they are going to have the opportunity to learn the truth first and foremost, but it's still going to be up to them to accept it. And even if they don't believe it right now, they think it's conspiracy theory, there is a good chance that your 87-year-old grandmother is going to have a shift in consciousness as a result of being told the truth on a mass scale. Okay, so even if they're older, it doesn't matter as long as they're still aware and they could still use their cognitive to decide for themselves if they want to choose to truth or to stay in ignorance is completely up to them. But yeah, so and the best thing to do right now is just to keep planting seeds. Keep planting seeds. That's the best thing we could do, and teach by example. Of course, people that are considered crazy or conspiracy theorists are actually constantly being magnified. We're under a microscope, right? People are always watching us. So just remember that, guys. Well, what I mean by hard work when it comes to ascension is there are, you could say, parameters that each soul needs to live by in order to go to the next level. That's the best way to say it. But it has to be through will and consciousness. Because again, we are going to be ascending all the way to the 12th dimension when we reach completion. Is Princess Diana coming back? I still say yes, absolutely. She's still alive. Absolutely. Aloha, Ishmael. Thank you for all you're doing. That was what was the substance you mentioned against spirit connection? Please ask the Alliance about Hawaii. Let me see if I understand that question about Hawaii being a testing ground for, and then you cut off for. Uh, oh, what was the substance you mentioned against spirit protection? Substance. I don't know if I understand your question, Anton. All right, guys, two more questions. Two more questions. Ishmael, please remind everybody to love and not be divided by conflicting belief systems. Yes, big reminder. Yes, I welcome everybody from whether you're religious, spiritual, new ager, I don't care. I don't care if you're vegan, carnivore, vegetarian. We're here to break all those little, us against them, division boxes, whatever. This is about bringing everybody together as one, learning that it's okay to, or being okay to disagree and still be friends. Okay. So that's what this is all about. So I even welcome, believe it or not, guys, I even welcome flat earthers. Okay. We're all brothers and sisters. One more question. Does Princess Diana's children know she is alive? That is a good question. I am not sure. I would say probably not because of the fact that her children also have cabal family. But there's a big chance that they might know. There's a big chance that they were informed that she is alive. Well, Harry would be more likely to know she's alive, not the oldest son. All right, guys. The chat is going super fast, so I think I'm just going to end it here. I just wanted to say thank you for being here. Don't forget to pick up your Galactic Jedi wear through my website or cosmicorigin.com. And if you haven't had a chance to read my book, they're both available on Amazon. And with that in mind, guys, we will see you guys another day. May the God Force be with you all, always.